I was in a huge arena, and it was very bright and white, and you know, as you are amongst a bunch of people, you hear people chattering and talking, and I just noticed I was just around other people that I didn't know, and then I noticed that my husband was a few rows down in front of me, and I was all wondering what's up with that. And fast forward a little bit, people were getting excited, the crowd was getting excited, and I was just wondering what the hubbub was about, and what's going on, and then I just heard Jesus' name. I'm like, there's Jesus, and then I was like, oh gosh, where is he? And then I was looking down, many rows down, and I just noticed that he was, just how you would picture Jesus when he was on earth, in his white gown or whatever he would wear. Very natural, and noticed that he was going through the rows, tapping people's shoulders, not everybody's shoulders though. I noticed that he was skipping some people and then tapping the shoulders, and just kept walking in front of people, and then going to the next row and going to the next row, kind of, so it's a zigzag. You can see him going to the right and then going to the left and the next row, and then fast forward like dreams do, he was already I was getting excited. I wanted to get my shoulder tapped, so I'm like, it's my turn, I was all giddy and getting excited, and then there he was to my left looking down at me, and he was lovingly disappointed in me or something, and I was like, okay. Am I gonna get tapped? And then he just looked at me saying, you're not ready. And then that just shocked me. I was just in shock. I couldn't believe it. So I was and then he just walked by me. He just kept walking in front of me. I mean, like when someone just passes you and just walks by you. I totally felt dissed from Jesus, and that feeling was just like ridiculous. I was just, talk about feeling like crap. So I was crying, similar to this, I guess. In the dream, I was just, it was a cry that you probably wouldn't, like, let's say, I guess, if somebody died that you love so much and they were died in front of you, and you're just crying like crazy. It was just like my heart was pouring out, and I was like saying, I'm sorry, Jesus, I love you, I'm sorry. And after a while, I was just, I was crying. I was crying, crazy cry, and, done crying after a while, and then I was sniffling and, getting back in my chair, and just kind of looking around back at the crowd, and feeling very crappy, and wondering why Jesus passed me. But I was just like, okay. Then all of a sudden, he was back. Like he was, back on my left side, like he never passed me. And then he just held out his hand, saying, you're ready. And I was like, so I grabbed his hand like crazy. I grabbed it, and I just jumped up and grabbed him. Similar to this picture, I was trying to find a picture that would be that would give me that moment. Oh, I was just hugging him like crazy, and just embracing him, and just he was embracing me. It was the most wonderful feeling in the planet ever. And so after a while, I was like, oh, like in my head, I was thinking, oh, probably have a lot of shoulder tapping to do. You should probably get back to picking people or whatever you were doing. But then he squeezed me harder, like he had all the time in the world. So that was my first dream. Amazing dream that I had from God. And that was So that was back in 2005 or 25 or whatever you call it. My husband and I were trying for kids back then, and after I woke up from that dream, my husband was just looking at me. I must have been smiling like huge after that dream. And anyway, so during that time, this was before I had a miscarriage. So this dream, for some reason, it helped me during the few miscarriages I had, because it gave me hope for that, hope for children. But then, so I thought that was what that dream meant, like we're not ready to have kids yet or whatever, and then one day I will be, or one day we will be, and so, and then we eventually had our first, 2007, and so fast forward, so back in 2015, I believe, that's interesting, 10 years later, after this dream, my husband, our family, we were homeless. We were living in a hotel for 8 months. So this was one of the months we were living in a hotel. We weren't living in a hotel for 8 months, but it was living in a hotel for, maybe 3 months, I believe. And then it's amazing how God just provided. We were just trusting His provision, and waiting, lots of waiting. And so one night when we were in the hotel, I was just in the middle of the night, I was having a hard time sleeping, and it was just a flash vision of this dream, and it just kind of flashed in my eyes, and I guess the Lord was just downloading what the actual meaning was, and I was just blown away. And He told me what the tapping was, like what was He doing. And apparently there's a separation of His church. There's a difference between the bride and lukewarm church. So you've got the bride and the lukewarm. These are the Christians that either have a relationship with Jesus and know Him and He knows them, or not. The not ones are living by the world. I'll just show you in the text.